Welcome back to the second part of my series on the differences between the old IIMs and the new IIMs. Now, you could be an MBA aspirant or a student at one of those new IIMs, and you would be wondering that what are the differences between the two kinds of IIMs when it comes to the extracurricular activities, because at the end of the day, all of us say that the true learning at a B school happens outside the classroom. So this is the video wherein I'll be comparing that how different are the old IIMs and the new IIMs when it comes to the extracurricular activities, when it comes to the opportunities which you have beyond the classroom. And here I'd like to say that I am speaking from my own experience of being a product of one of the new IIMs, as well as from my years of experience of being a product head at one of the MBA test prep companies in New Delhi. Hi, I'm Darpan Saxena, an MBA graduate from IIM Udaipur, and let's get on with the video. So like I had shared with you in the first part of my video series on the differences between the old IIMs and the new IIMs, I would again say that my analysis is going to be based on two kinds of differences. One are the systemic differences, by which I mean to say the differences are there in the very nature of that thing which I'm trying to evaluate, that those things are different by the very design of it, by the very structure of it. Whereas the other kind of differences are the executional differences, which means that while those things are the same by structure, are the same by the very fabric of it, but when different IIMs get to executing all of those things, there could be some differences which might creep in during that execution. So within the extracurricular activities, I will be evaluating three things. One is the clubs and the committees. The second thing is the summits and the fests. And the third thing is the live projects. So starting off with the clubs and committees. Now, what you need to know is that the clubs and committees at all IIMs are exactly the same by the structure of it, by the design of it, because you will find clubs across various functional domains. For example, marketing, finance, HR, analytics, consulting, operations. You'll find all of these clubs at all the IIMs. Apart from that, when we talk about committees, you will find the exactly same kind of committees everywhere. For example, the student council, the placecom, the messcom, the infrastructure com, so on and so forth. The basic essence of these clubs, committees and the special interest groups is exactly the same. Surely there would be differences in the names, there would be differences in the way they operate, so on and so forth. However, structurally, all IIMs you will encounter clubs and committees for the various things you need for your hobbies, for the functional domains you want to work in, or if you want to work as a committee member, you will also find the exactly same committees everywhere. So from this we can see that when it comes to clubs and committees, the systemic differences are no, but executional differences can be there, and usually they are. So I would say yes, there would be executional differences. From there, I would be speaking to you about the second thing within the extracurricular activities, which is the summits and the fests. Now, all the IIMs have one key summit which happens once in a year. All the IIMs have that. At the same time, all the IIMs have one key fest, one key day or a weekend wherein all the students of that B school enjoy. So structurally, all the IIMs would have that they would have one fest and they would have one summit, wherein the summit is more academic, it is more corporate oriented, whereas the fest has more of a fun appeal to it, wherein it's the time to unwind. However, what happens is that when different IIMs execute their summits and fest, there starts to come in the differences. The summits and the fest which happens at the old IIMs are much larger in the magnitude, as well as they are more famous across the B schools, across the student community, as well as the industries. So for example, the very famous summit of an IIM Ahmedabad, the Red Brick Summit, is a very famous summit which is not only attended by the students of various B schools apart from IIM Ahmedabad, but it is also attended by a lot of corporate people as well. In the same way, IIM Calcutta organizes Intalio, which is also a very big affair, for which they hire student ambassadors across various B schools, and those student ambassadors work very proudly for this Intalio event, which is organized by IIM Calcutta every year. So from here, what we have been able to understand is that yes, by the structure of it, each IIM has one summit, has one fest, but the way they organize it, the way they brand it, is where the magic happens. And from there, I would be speaking about the third thing in the differences in the extracurricular activities. And this third thing is the live projects, the differences in the live projects and out of campus opportunities for you to practice your skills. Now, again, structurally, it would be the same. All the students at all the IIMs are allowed and are encouraged to take up industry project from outside the campus, and a lot of organizations, they eagerly await, they eagerly recruit students for short-term projects from these live project opportunities. So basically everywhere, whichever IIM you may be in, if you are a student, you will find enough opportunities for you to get live projects wherein you can practice your skill, you can practice whatever you are learning in the classroom outside in the industry. So where exactly are the differences in the live projects? Here they are. The first thing is that at different IIMs, different bodies are responsible for floating these projects. For example, at some IIMs, only the consulting clubs of those IIMs are responsible to float these projects among the batch. Whereas at a lot of other IIMs, the club which is of that particular functional domain can launch the project in the batch for that particular domain. So from the executional standpoint, that was one of the differences which you will find at these various IIMs. Then if we speak about the kind of organizations which will float these projects at the various IIMs, they are also not the same. So probably you can expect that much larger organizations would float these live projects at the older IIMs, whereas a lot of newer organizations or startups or mid-stage organizations would float the projects at the newer IIMs. So you would also find that there is some kind of a difference between the kind of organizations which are floating these projects. Now the same thing I can extend to a fourth aspect of this, which is the case competitions which happen at a lot of B schools. Now this is an additional fourth point which I'm speaking to you about, that the kind of organizations which float good case competitions are not the same across all the IIMs. Some of the most largest and the most attractive case competitions are floated only at the old IIMs and not at the new IIMs. However, organizations do keep on re-evaluating that which B schools should they be floating their case competitions at. If you want to know a detailed list of all the B school case competitions which are floated by various organizations, then do check out an article on my blog wherein you'll find a detailed list of the same. So at the end of it, you would realize that when it comes to systemic differences, you would not find them when it comes to extracurricular activities. However, yes, there are a lot of executional differences which are there between the old IIMs and the new IIMs. So from here, I am expecting that you would have understood the differences in the extracurricular activities between the old IIMs and the new IIMs. My objective was to help you understand all the nuances which are there. That is why I've split it into systemic and executional differences. And in the next video of this series, I will be speaking to you about a very important thing, that what are the differences between the old IIMs and the new IIMs when it comes to the placements. And that is where you'll truly enjoy it, because that is where you'll find a lot of nuances out there. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot. Cheers.